It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Wow, where do I start talking about the journey that we've been on? I guess the easiest way to tell our story is go right back to the start. Students were selected for the program based on school testing results, OTJ and national standards requirements. It was decided that all the students would come from my class, except one who was a relatively new student and in Year 3. The assessment gathered helped us to make informed decisions about who would access the program. We set up an inquiry team and decided that the program would run for the full 15 weeks for 1 hour per day. Ginny also supplemented this in her classroom literacy program, so the students were often getting a double whammy. The structure of the program in its initial stages was based upon ideas from effective literacy practice years 1 to 4. The team discussed what the best approach would be to sell the program, and the result was that we ran a school-wide competition to design the best poster advertising the Wiz Kids Club. The winner was to receive a prize pack, etc. This created huge hype around the school, and our students were very, very keen to be those selected to be in the program. The program had a heavy emphasis on using games, activities and hands-on tasks for the students. It was of course based around best practice, effective pedagogy and current research.
Up the path, running up the steps, running. Yeah, came back.
Because I'm just copying off the pictures.
No.
Right, read them.
Oh
These
yes,
our
that's
ones
like
might
a
go
puzzle,
together.
listen to it. Puff, puff, puff.
One thing we learnt very early on was that these children had specific gaps in their learning. We did a lot of explicit teaching to fill these gaps. The following clip is an example of one of these explicit teaching lessons.
So we've learnt lots and lots of other strategies, and we've talked about thinking while we're reading, but we haven't actually really had a discussion about how do we think while we read. So we're going to have a look at that today, and that will help us to select the strategies that we need to learn to help us fix any problems about what we're understanding about what we're reading. Okay, so that's what we're going to have a go at today. So I want you to have a look at the text I've just put in front of you called Snake and Lizard. So what I'm thinking in my head while I'm looking at that heading Snake and Lizard is I'm kind of visualising or thinking in my head about a long snake and a short lizard. And I kind of got that by looking at the picture. That gave me a clue. And by looking at the name, Snake and Lizard. I wonder how the snake and the lizard will interact in this text. So how will the snake...
Parents were contacted individually, the program discussed in detail, their questions answered, and a letter offering their student the opportunity to have a place in the program sent home. Those parents had to sign it, and this created the sense of a formal engagement into the program, e.g. the attendance rate in the program must be high, games and activities must be done at night at home, the holiday fun packs had to be completed, etc. We had a special room that we set aside for the Wiz Kids Club, called our clubhouse, obviously, for the program, and that gave it more mana and allowed the students a location to work that was just theirs. High quality resources were made, laminated, they were in colour, a special games box, we had jigsaws, treasure hunts, stickers, Mighty Beans as rewards. It gave the students a sense that they were valued and that reading is a valuable skill and very important. Parents were contacted individually throughout the program to give updates to them on progress of their student. All parents, dads included, came and watched the students in action. This gave Ginny the opportunity to discuss what was going on, some teaching ideas, to sell the idea to home that reading is important, discuss some basic pedagogy about how children learn, etc., and also so that the children could see that mum and dad thought it was important too. At the beginning of term 3, so this was 4 weeks into the program, Ginny discussed the ALL project with the entire staff at a staff meeting. There was considerable buy-in from most staff members. The junior teachers in particular could see the progress already of the students as they had taught them in previous years. In particular, they noticed the positive attitudes and higher confidence levels. We discussed the various aspects of the program and staff offered suggestions to inclusions that might be made. The programs were planned with thought about the focus being on the what and how. Many different hooks were used to engage students in the program. Some of these were a treasure hunt, so reading clues, videos of each other reading together, constructive feedback, and helpful hints given by the students. Multiple games were made to supplement the program. Readers' Theatre was used. This would be the resource that created the most buy-in from students and whānau. Board games, those that involved reading instructions. Cut up stories from blown up books and re-gluing them back together was a real favourite. Another thing that really made a huge difference to the program was talk, talk, talk. We spent a lot of time increasing vocabulary, comprehension, and just widening their understanding of the world. We also spent a lot of time doing reading mileage, so anywhere, anytime, and posters were made for around the school from photographs of students doing this. The program was constantly changing based on what we could see was working, feedback from students and whānau, and teacher observations.
I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Hi, my name's Brent Gray. I'm the principal here at MtSS Springburn School. I've been really fortunate to be involved in most of the PD that's gone on around the ALL project for our school for this year, ably led by Ginny Neal, who you'll see throughout this video, I'm sure. What Ginny's been doing with this group has been nothing short of amazing, really. We've had a group of children that we've identified that have been perennial strugglers, people who have had a lot of support in the past, a lot of intervention, and obviously we went into this with a fair bit of scepticism. But the results have truly been incredible, and I think probably that's down to the work that Ginny's done and making sure that she's worked really closely with the parents. I think that's been a huge factor in making this successful. The buy-in that she's had from the children themselves. We didn't have to do too much work around engagement with them. They were already really engaged in what they were doing, so that wasn't an issue. The children chosen, I think, worked really well in bouncing off each other, and then from there on supported each other. Probably the key thing to back up that work that was going on was the fact that Ginny then ran what she was doing in the ALL program with the group in her classroom as well. At the moment we're doing some end-of-year testing. The big thing for us is looking at the results. It's not just had with our positive results and acceleration it's had with our ALL group, but also the massive change it's had with the class across the board, which has been a real surprise for us, but one that we're obviously pretty happy with. From there, I guess the key thing about having our group meet regularly was to talk about what was going on with Ginny's group, talk about what was going on in Ginny's class. As a result of that, the discussion around with our inquiry team has been quite interesting. We've had teachers that have been really keen to try some stuff, some teachers that have really taken on board what's going on. Our DP, who is just blown away by some of the results, having taught those children before, and another one of our junior teachers who's just seen some immediate change, having tried some things that have been talked about, which has also been really, really positive. Implications for us, this has caused a huge rethink into what we'll do going forward as a school. We're employing 2 new teachers in fixed term positions next year, and so we've got to do a lot of thinking about what we want our classrooms to look like, what we want the practice in those classrooms to look like. Ginny's been good at keeping our board informed along the way, and they're really supportive in making sure that we've got the resources we need to make this work going forward. So it's pretty exciting. As I said, totally blown away by some of the results. A lot of thinking to do, a lot of reflection that's been done, a lot of reflecting still to be done, but also really positive about what impact this can have on not just those children we've had this year, but a lot of our children going forward.
So I'm Marianne Heaven. I'm the DP at MtSS Springburn School. I've had 5 of Ginny's 6 kids before. I thought she was crazy at the very start. I thought those kids would never ever do what they've done. In the past, those kids have had parent support buddies, they've had teacher buddies, some have had RTLB, they've reading recovery. We've thrown all kinds of funding at these kids before. So the success that Ginny's had with the kids has made us rethink where we're going to next. and we've got to rethink some programs and what we're doing right now. Yeah, because what she's had is amazing success.
Patty Ree, Year 1-2 teacher at Mount Summer Springburn School. After lots and lots of discussion and observations of Ginny's amazing successes in the ALL program, I've done quite a bit of reflection on what my classroom will look like next year. I have tried a few things out already, looking more closely at sight words and the phonics program. I've begun some readers theatre work with the children as a rotation. So next year I think it's going to be a little bit more, or quite a lot more holistic. And I'm really looking.
So my son was reading at a level 19 pre-Wiz Kids. I had a little boy who was very negative about everything that was about reading. Reading books in the evening was I had to force him to do his reading homework. He was very negative and he lost a lot of confidence. So we saw a huge change in him with him being in the Wiz Kids Club. All of a sudden, we could see these changes. He was becoming more confident in himself every day, in his everyday life, as well as within his school, in the school community. He achieved a level 26 at the end of Wiz Kids. He now chooses to read in his own time. He's reading chapter books. He'll sit up and read for half an hour every night, choosing the books that he would like to read. We're just so rapt. It's just been brilliant. We really enjoyed the homework aspect of being in the Wiz Kids Club. Jack would be bringing home games which the whole family really enjoyed doing together. My younger son got really involved as well. It benefited him with his reading. It wasn't homework, it was fun. It was great. We just loved it.
We were so good in Wiz Kids that we got up to past the national standard, and we played treasure hunts. We cut books up and put them together. That was sort of like a puzzle, wasn't it? We did lots of reading at home. And in the holidays, we had a wee chart to see how much reading we did. And did you see how much we did in the holidays? It was heaps. I know. And we came out here, and in the office over there, there's Mighty Beans. We had a treasure hunt, didn't we? Yeah. And we had scripts. We learned so much that we learnt a lot about reading without actually reading. Yeah. All we were doing is listening to a script and following with our eyes. I reckon the one that got us into Wiz Kids, like really good reading, was Mr. Bundy's school. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Yeah. Once he
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.
So thinking about what we've learnt during this 15-week journey, what were the strategies or learning conditions that supported acceleration? The inquiry team got together to discuss this, and we decided that it was the following 5 things. 1, a strongly focused all teacher. 2, development of strong partnerships with parents, caregivers, whānau to support Wiz Kids learning. 3, raising expectations for all learners involved in the project. And actually, it was all learners in general. 4, effective utilisation of assessment data. And 5, a variety of explicit teaching strategies.
Until